There's more to this car than just having a stick shift.
Most important thing is we have to send it over as many curbs as possible, right?
The average new car price right now is something around $40,000. But don't panic, you can still get an affordable, cheap, fun car. For example, the Honda Civic Si. It's less than $30,000, it's got 200 horsepower and a manual. That's fun. We're here at Thermal Raceway and we are going to take it out on track. We is me and professional racing driver Ryan Lewis. Ryan, the first thing that I have to ask you is, did you purposely dress to match the seats in the SI?
Oh, well, I do match. Incredible. So that must be like psychosemantic or something when I drove the car yesterday. I just want to blend into the seat, like camouflage.
How do you feel about small cars? Are you like a small zippy car fan? Are you a big car guy?
I'm from Europe, so all of our cars are small. It's a rite of passage. You start driving when you're 17 and you drive a small hatchback with a manual gearbox. I personally think all young drivers anywhere globally, you should have to drive a manual car. It teaches you, to understand a bit more about what's going on rather than everything kind of being on autopilot. It's pretty hard to be distracted and use your phone if you've got to change gear the whole time, although I definitely did manage it with my old Nokia 8610 phone back in the day. But I learned how to text without looking at the screen, so technically it wasn't as bad, right?
There's more to this car than just having a stick shift. They did a bunch of redesign. The Civic itself was redesigned, so if you were not a fan, it's totally different. It's a lot smoother, it's a lot subtler.
I quite like these new air vents. These are kind of fun.
It's absolutely a usable car. It's still an affordable car, which is another thing because there really aren't that many options that you can get on this car. You can get summer tires, which we have, and then you can pick what paint color you want. Most of the extra cost paints are like the gray, white, and black, which I think everyone should do, right? Like
punishing you for the boring stuff.
As should be. 200 horsepower, which is 5 less than it used to have, but across more of the power band. How much does 5 horsepower matter to you?
Probably not a lot. You're going to gain more from having less weight in the car overall, having that development in the chassis and in the suspension system, right? That's probably where you're going to gain more. And this car's not really about horsepower, right? I always like to say that, if you can drive what is ostensibly a slower car fast, you can drive any car fast because it teaches you about the economy of your inputs and teaches you about momentum. A car that doesn't have a lot of horsepower, if you're making mistakes and not driving it correctly, you're going to get punished on lap time comparatively a lot worse than with something that's got heaps of horsepower and big tires,
But what if I just get a really powerful car and just pass you on the straights every time?
Does that happen? No, people don't do that, do they? They buy cars with heaps of horsepower just to pass Miatas? Never. It's a Civic Si. It's really fun to drive when you start leaning on it. It's very...
Lean on it right now. I want to hear it. Let's go.
All right, so...
Give it the beans. Give it the beans.
That's it. I mean, it's not a K20, right? It's not screaming. Well, the most important thing is we're in a front-wheel drive hot hatch. We have to send it over as many curbs as possible, right?
Is that a rule?
That's a rule. It's just me. I'm LARPing at being a British touring car driver.
No, I thought you were just revisiting your misspent youth.
It's got plenty of gas, it gets moving, it stops really well. You turn the car in, it's neutral on the way in, you lift, the car continues to turn as it slows down. to get a bit more curb here. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, it's pretty forgiving, huh?
Takes it in its stride. No problems.
Ryan, this car brought you back to your childhood. You were all ready to just like hoon it around some roundabouts, take it off some curbs. You're all racing champion and then also a teenager at the same time.
I love cars like this because, you know, I will always maintain it's the best thing to go and learn how to, you know, drive quickly, drive on a track. It teaches you to be economical with your inputs and how you're actually driving. It puts you in a much better position to learn how to drive. But it's not really all about driving on the track with this car. You know, it's a great everyday driver if you just want to occasionally go for a nice drive somewhere out in the countryside. It's mega.
Well, and you said economical, which it also is. I mean, this is the classic, affordable first car. Sporty, but also very accessible.
You know, you don't need to be putting kids in big SUVs. Put them in a small car.
Teach them some respect.
Exactly.
So Civic Si, best first car.
Yeah, sure.